I'm not going to weigh in on the debate of whether it's a scam or not. This is a big, big problem, especially in e-commerce.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
That is unique.
That is unique.
Oh, this is what I'm hoping for. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I just am like praying for it. I want. What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Whale Informed by Triple Whale, where we do not give you business or financial advice. I got another person with me this week. He's got some topics. Ethan, what are we getting into?
What's up? All right, today we're going to break it down into three main sections. First, we're going to have some free-flowing conversation. We're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney and Ford, the one-person billion-dollar company, and then we're going to conclude that section with The Dive, Triple Whale's report that we launched last week. After that, we're going to hit a bunch of rapid-fire topics. We're going to keep those a surprise for now. And then we're going to conclude with the Johnologue, we're calling it. That'll be a monologue section where John closes out on something that's been on his mind all last week.
Basically, yeah. John gets to stand on his soapbox and rant for a little bit. All right, let's talk about Sydney Sweeney and Ford. What do we got going on there?
All right, perfect. So to kick off this section, I'm going to read a LinkedIn that we saw this week from Chase Diamond, and we'll go from there. So here's the post. Sydney Sweeney's Ford campaign is a marketing masterstroke. Ford was looking to reach a wider female audience, and the association with Sweeney is so spot on. You'd think, why had no one thought of this before? So here's what people don't know. Apart from being a giant star, Sydney is also a legit car mechanic. Her social media is filled with videos of her working on vintage cars, and her most prized possession is actually a 1969 Ford Bronco. In a world where less than 3% of mechanics are female, Ford's association with her not only breaks stereotypes, but remains 100% authentic while doing so. And then there's a few more things on the post, but I'll cut it off there because one, I had no idea Sydney Sweeney was a mechanic. And two, I'm curious, John, do you think this is going to be similar to other influencer campaigns that we've seen like Snoop and Solo, or is this different?
A lot of it is about fit, like product audience fit. So what kind of audience does the creator or the celebrity have? And like, does the product fit with that? I think with Sydney Sweeney, hers is mass, right? She's in, what did she get famous in?
I think it was Euphoria.
Okay.
There's another show too.
Side note, Sydney Sweeney is actually from my hometown.
What?
From the same place. Yes. Okay.
You're lying.
Yeah. Anyways, so Sydney Sweeney, she's mass market. And that's the kind of celebrity it's very dangerous to do a collab with, because oftentimes, like, you know, you hear brands who talk about like working with a Kardashian and, you know, they posted and no sales came from it.
Right. But she is authentic as well, as this post says. And I know
so that's exactly
more and more girls with Jeeps and with big trucks. I think this could be huge for Ford tapping into that space.
And they've been doing it for a while, it sounds like, but I think it's worth revisiting with the kind of the Super Bowl coming up and stuff like that. I think a reveal is always cool, right? So what do we like about shows like The Masked Singer? We like realizing that somebody has talent that we didn't realize they had, or Dancing with the Stars. Somebody has talent that we didn't realize they had, right? Like when Victor Oladipo,
like a new side of somebody. Yeah.
Victor Oladipo, NBA player, came in and he gets unmasked on The Masked Singer, and I'm like, dang, that dude's got pipes. I did not know, right? Jordan Mailata, Philadelphia Eagles, same thing. Got pipes. I didn't know. That we love seeing that like new side of people. And Ford is basically kind of just like showing, especially if it's a skill, like a thing that they've developed over time that they had to work on. We like seeing that humanizes them, and it makes us respect them more. And I think Ford's kind of doing that here, which is really cool. Like if Snoop was like super great at like outdoor cooking, you know, maybe his low stove campaign makes sense. Open fire cooking. Who's good at that? I don't know. You put it over the fire. That's how it is. But then it would make sense because they can like showcase that. But I think that's what Ford's doing here is they're like showcasing and doing this reveal about this person that we already have a relationship with that makes us respect her more, and then makes us respect Ford more for showcasing it.
Totally. Love that. All right, let's move on to the next one now. Yeah. So Sam Altman predicts a one-person, $1 billion company with AI. Do we want to pull up that tweet and play the video?
We're going to see 10-person billion-dollar companies pretty soon, like billion-dollar valuations. And the thing that in my little like group chat with my like tech CEO friends, there's this betting pool for the first year that there's a one-person billion company, which would have been like unimaginable without AI, and now will happen.
Soft flex on the tech bro CEOs. Should we get like a marketing group chat
I think we
going just
should.
so we
I
can
think we should
soft
add
flex on Twitter?
one person to our chat,
Yeah.
and then it's a group chat.
Yeah, that's true.
More.
Like we already message each other, so it's a great group
Yeah.
chat. If we add one more person, then we can call it a real group.
It's a party.
I think that a couple things about this. One, I think it's maybe possible. Like if we think about all of the like peak applications of artificial intelligence, there's a world where like a 0-person billion-dollar company could exist. Like AI could actually just create the company. There's a world essentially where humans are not needed anymore, and we're not like right. And I'm not meaning to be a doomsday person or whatever, but like if we go to like the nth degree on this, right? And he's just kind of saying like, okay, somewhere not quite as far as the nth degree where humans aren't needed anymore, but a little bit closer to us. There's a $1 billion 1-person company. I think it's possible. My main thing is I think it'd be very lonely. I mean, if you've ever done like solopreneurship or like I've done my podcast alone for a while, and it's just lonely. Like I think sometimes you want somebody to bounce ideas off of, and maybe AI can serve as that. But I think also sometimes you want it to be another human with like a heart and like skin. That's and that creates vibrations, right?
I didn't think about that, but I mean, a huge part of work is the social aspect to it, like a company culture. That's a huge thing that's going to change in a world like this. And as I was thinking about his idea, I was trying to think,
what would the company be?
What would that company be? Yeah. And I know this is kind of meta, but like if somebody truly builds a company that big, that's a 1-person company, I think they would be selling a service that teaches other people how to do that. Because then it's like they're doing it, they're selling the service, other people are doing it as well.
Yeah.
And I also think in terms of a $1 billion valuation, I think VCs will eat that up. So it might be a pretty bloated valuation, but that might happen sooner than we think.
Right. It's they build some kind of platform on which you can launch your own, $10 million 1-person brand, and they do that 100 times or 1,000 times or whatever the math is on that.
Yeah.
And they have a cut of that revenue through their platform. So it's basically a course. It's a course that teaches you how to do courses that, where you can create a course to teach people how to do courses. Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that being the $1 billion company or a marketplace. Like Craigslist is already a pretty big company that doesn't have very many people. But, so it could be something like that.
It feels like the next big marketplace, the future Craigslist, something like that could be built with 1 person.
For sure. What else
totally. Awesome. Last one. So last week we dropped The Dive, trademarked by Triple Whale, not actually trademarked.
Yeah.
But essentially what The Dive was, is it was a deep dive of 2023 and what happened in 2023. And in some of our past reports, we broke it down by GMV tier, but in The Dive, we decided to break it out by industry. And we went in some of the key like blended performance metrics and ad metrics by those industries to show what were the big things that we saw year over year.
We have a whole bunch of data from a whole bunch of people who sell physical products online, like tons of it, billions of dollars of it. We usually create this report that breaks it down by how much revenue they do, right? So brands that do this like small amount that are small, brands that are small, medium. And this time we decided to do, like Ethan said, by industry. So, the baby industry or sporting goods, consumer electronics, those kinds of things to see basically what is the public buying? What are people spending their money on? What's growing? What's trending?
Speaking of what's trending, we saw the baby industry grew 66% year over year. Was that the biggest one?
Baby industry was the biggest. Yeah. So 66% year over year in terms of people buying baby products online. I think this makes sense. I don't know if you remember 2020, if you were around for that. I know you're young. I think you were here.
I think I was graduating college.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's cool. I was 30, so that's fun. We were all stuck inside. Most people weren't working. You got to pass the time somehow. So we all got busy making babies, and it was a little mini baby boomer year, basically in 2021, and even into 2022, from late 2020 basically till early 2022. So it makes a lot of sense to me that baby industry is really booming. People buying a lot of those products online. The other thing that is of note about the baby industry is it is the most lucrative I've seen from like customer lifetime value standpoint. So when somebody becomes a customer, the amount they spend with you over time can be insane because one, you need tons of baby clothes. Two, you end up like they get ruined a lot. So you need even more. Three, the baby grows fast. So you need even more. So I can totally understand how brands that got in on this trend in 2020 and grew in those years are now like just reaping that, dipping back into that over and over. And this is a really growing industry. I think the thing here though, is that you got to look at like, you probably missed this if you like don't launch a baby brand now, right? I mean, you could, but you're not going to ride the wave like that. But that group, that crop of 2020 to 2022 kids, like they're going to be kids too. And then they're going to be like preteens, and then they're going to be teenagers, then they're going to be adults. Like, what are the other things they're going to need along the way? I could see, sporting goods, toys, books, hobbies, games, things like that as they age up, as that group, as that crop ages up, or you even have a new crop of parents from those years. I could see that anyone who tries to ride that wave really.
So true. The wave might have passed baby, but it's going to move into the next generations of
toddlers.
Of what do toddlers need buy for those kids?
What 4 and 5 year olds need. Exactly. I actually had a kid, I think in 2021. Yeah. So I have a kid in that wave. So yeah, good trend to ride. And then I also think go ahead.
Yeah. The other one that blew up a ton was food and beverage. So way different, but why do you think that blew up?
Super related, right? Here's my theory on this. And this is just a theory, but like, I think I said this on the last episode of my podcast with Nick Shackelford, who launched Breeze drink brand, right? A cannabis drink brand. So in like 1900, Coke came out and they put like some sugar and some carbonation and some syrup into water. And everybody's like, cool, this is pretty good. And then basically nobody innovated in the beverage game until like 1987, 1990, when Red Bull created a new category with the energy drink. So this is an industry, beverage is specifically an industry that like, it's very light on innovation. If you think about some of the other brands or types of brands that have like gotten really big in the first direct to consumer sort of e-commerce wave, like Harry's razors, beds, mattresses, things like that. Those are products that have been like innovated to death. You can't even innovate a razor anymore. It's just a razor. Like it's the best mousetrap it can be at this point. But beverage has been innovated very little. And so I think beverage specifically, not only food, but specifically beverage is behind in terms of like the market trends. So whatever happens in the market as a whole is going to happen to beverage later, right? Because they just innovate slowly in beverage. Add to that like better for you in the food category is getting better. Like usually better for you food tastes like crap, but as our technology gets better, the better for you food tastes better and better. And the more people want to eat it because they want to be healthy. So it doesn't surprise me that food and beverage is on the rise either. Same kind of thing though. Like,
I think one thing that's kind of ironic around that is in terms of the beverage space, what really kicked off a lot of that trend was Liquid Death, a company that innovated the market around water in a way that's never done before. And if you're not familiar with the story, I think it was created by a bunch of guys that used to run ad agencies and do work with energy brands, literally energy drinks. And they're like, why does the brand for water all suck? And so they changed it. They flipped it on its head. And I think there's been a lot of other momentum in that space, starting with a water brand.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Liquid Death, I mean, they basically took the Red Bull playbook. Like Red Bull doesn't post about its product anywhere. They're like, here's a guy jumping from space. Like, that's fun. So that's exactly what Liquid Death is. They don't jump from space, but they're like, here's actually funny stuff. Right. And we talked about this on the last episode too. Prime is another thing that like really, I think got people buying online. Liquid Death is mostly distributed in retail still, but Prime really got people buying beverage online. And I think that's been I think anyone who's in beverage right now is well positioned.
Totally. Awesome. All right, let's move to some rapid fire questions now. Agency pricing, flat fee versus percent of revenue. I think this has been a hot topic.
This is a little niche Twitter debate that's going on. Yeah, I'm ex-agency, recovering agency person. I had my own agency, sold it, ran performance marketing at that agency for a while. Basically, the argument here is like, is it a ripoff when agencies charge some kind of percentage of the money that you spend? So let's say your agency, you have a client that sells hats, and that, you know, you're running all their Facebook ads. There's basically two ways to charge. You could just say, hey, you know, give me $5,000 a month, I'll run your ads. $5,000 a month, I'll run your ads. Or I will charge you, you know, $3,000 a month, or 10% of all of your ad spend, whichever is greater. The idea being that you are more motivated to scale up spend, and, you know, the only way to scale up spend is if it's profitable, if it's reaching their targets for, you know, that they're, you know, making a profit off of that ad spend. So that's kind of the core thing here. And the debate is like, you know, percentage of spend, or it can be other things too. It could be a percentage of revenue. It could be other variable pricing. Variable just meaning it's based on some sort of performance.
Right.
That's the debate. And here's my take on this. I'm not going to out anybody. I'm not going to say that I think variable is a ripoff. I actually don't necessarily think variable is a ripoff. I've talked about this a lot of times, and I have a lot of deep thoughts about this. This is a big, big problem, especially in e-commerce, because basically all these agencies are bringing to the table is knowledge and skill. And not to downplay that, but that can be in-housed, right? Once you're a certain size, you can hire your own knowledge and skill. You can hire people who have those skills. They're not bringing any network. It's not like a PR agency where they're bringing some network to the table of, oh, I know all the places that we can get you press or something like that. So end of the day, if you're an agency, this is just my experience, there's some size of check that when the brand sends it to you, no matter how well you're doing, they're just going to feel like it's too big, right? So if they write you a $20,000 check because you crushed it, right? Like, let's say they had their most profitable month ever. They're rolling in it. You know, it's life-changing. I've had brands I worked with where we like had life-changing performance with them, and they send a couple checks for 15. They send a couple checks for 15 grand or more, 20 grand or more. And they just start to think, oh, couldn't I just hire this in-house? Like, there is some amount that is subjective that just feels high to them, even if it logically makes sense. And that's just what it is. I'm not going to weigh in on the debate of whether it's a scam or not. I'm just saying what it is.
All right. So the next one, there was a tweet earlier last week, and someone put something out, and it said, where they asked people to reply with the best or the craziest websites that they've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
I think somebody we know posted
your boy.
this one.
Your boy hit him with the reply. This is a millennial thing too. I thought everybody knew about this website.
I think you have to share it.
Yep.
So, there we go. Boom.
If you have never seen lingscars.com, so this person is like, oh, we're thinking about redesigning our website. Like, hit me with some of your favorite designs. And it went off. Like, people just, and of course, all the design agencies are like, here's some of ours from our portfolio. And I'm like, bro, best website on the internet, lingscars.com. If you're listening on audio right now, you're not this is a part of the video. Go, watch 28 minutes, whatever. This is a part of video you watch online, because this thing is just unreal.
I can navigate it a little bit here.
Kind of, there's a lot.
Right. There's even fun games. There's Ling right there.
Yeah, it just says I'm Ling.
How much money do you think this makes?
She leases cars. One of the best things at the bottom, she says, like, I am Ling, you can trust me. Like, just self-made social proof. Like, so she leases cars. And I looked into the traffic on this thing, and I want to say the Similar Web, I don't have the plugin, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I want to say that it was getting 60, 70,000 visits a year. 60, 70,000 visits a month. Yeah. And so I'm trying to back into what it was. Like, here's what I looked up. I was like, all right, what's the average lease, like, price in the UK? And I think it's £400 or £500 or something like that. What's the average commission? If you sell a lease, you get commission for the whole lifetime of the lease, which is on average 2 to 5 years. So I mathed into this, and I think if she's converting of all that traffic, a lot of the traffic has to be coming just because it's so novel. It's such a crazy way, right? But if she's converting like 0.1% of it, which isn't very much, if 0.1% of people are leasing a car from her, I think she's probably doing about $1 million in new revenue per month. And if her average lease term is, let's say, 3 years, then she's carrying that for 36 months, meaning she's probably doing about $36 million a year $30 to $40 million a year in revenue.
Crazy.
And it could only go up, right? That's 0.1% conversion rate. That's a 3-year lease. Like that's all very conservative. Like she might be doing 80 to 100 milli with this freaking
This is insane.
Amazing best website ever. Best website on the internet.
Let's keep this in the back pocket and maybe use this style for something else.
The triple whale redesign.
The triple whale redesign.
Yeah.
All right. For the next one, it was the Orange John 2024 packaging trends. I think we have a tweet here on the side if you want to show it.
2024 packaging trends. We are currently in a live reenactment of 2000s Indian nostalgia, so it's time to bring those old Tumblr mood boards alive. Shout out to Orca for tackling this one, and I'm glad we're also skipping energy drinks and just putting caffeine right into water now. Transparent is as in as ever, but I still prefer it with colored beverages. Next we have cross-category packaging, or taking something like sunglasses and putting it inside food packaging. Think supplements coming out of a soda can, etc. It's all about getting some dissonance from the existing things that think on the shelf and getting people's minds to work just a little bit. Then we have negative space. As designs get more crowded and loud, you're going to see people using this technique to draw the eye, which I don't think works that well in grocery, but has a lot of opportunity in other categories. We are still deep in the 2-color package era, which is just a perfect social media standout. And then last we have sensory packaging. As we enter an era where every visual trend is happening at once, using more texture and sensory experiences is going to be more common to stand out. If you love anything new you've seen recently, drop it in the comments.
Okay, sensory is wild. He basically showed some packaging that had like hair on the packaging.
Crazy.
Like a box with hair on it. I think that is unique.
That is unique.
I don't know if I would love it if I purchased something and got that. He also called out Orca. I think we should just skip to the Orca thing here.
Because let's jump to the Orca hair thing.
We're putting caffeine directly in water at this point. You know,
the weirdest thing we saw all week.
Yeah, weirdest thing we saw this week. Hopefully this will be a recurring segment. What is it? Do we have a photo of it, or like just read it?
We have a photo. I don't know if we have it. I'll explain it. So basically, you buy some Orca, which is one of the drinks that he showed early on in the video.
Yeah. Orca is basically caffeinated water. Like it's non-flavored caffeine drink, but caffeine does have a flavor. It's bitter. So this would be like bitter water that has caffeine in it. But I don't know. Humans are getting weird and we like it.
Yeah. So basically you order this caffeine water and you get a note and it says, "Thank you for being one of the first ever customers. As an expression of our gratitude, we have plucked and packaged a single hair from each of the Orca founders," which is stapled literally to the back of this card. And it's a bag of their hair. And it's signed. And then it's signed. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
The way you said it, you're like, I don't know how else to say this. It's a bag of their hair.
It's a bag of their hair.
It is a perfect description. Like if you're listening on audio, it's a tiny Ziploc bag.
Yep.
With
of hair.
What, probably 8 or 9 human hairs in it.
Yep. It looks like they have 8 co-founders.
8 co-founders. So you know how many co-founders they have by how many hairs. Also, they all have pretty long hair. So no bald people at this company.
That is true.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, if there's a bald person, you just don't know.
Right. Maybe there's like a tiny hair in there that's like, yeah, it's from like the back of their head.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. I don't know if I love it, but it's going to get attention. Like people are going to post about that. You can't.
We're talking about it. Right.
We're talking about it right now.
What's so genius about it is that like, it's like the classic hair in my order type thing, which is normally repulsive and you want your money back, but they're offering it as a sign of gratitude. So it makes no sense. And they know that.
Yeah. You can't help but talk about it. So yeah, we'll get, I mean, Nick Sharma, who's like pretty kind of got a cool podcast in this space and well-known in the direct to consumer product brand space, I think said on my podcast forever ago, and it's stuck with me. He said, you've got to be able to create a story around your brand. Because if you can't create a story around your brand, then you're just going to have to pay to get in front of people. And this creates a story. So that's, who knows whether it'll be good or not. I think it's pretty harmless. It's funny. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right. Last one here is Super Bowl ad predictions. What do you have there? What do you think we're going to see? What do you think might be the best ad?
I mean, this could just be my imagination, but I feel like it's gone downhill in the last few years. I feel like I used to like the ads more.
Agree.
Yeah, a couple things. Well, okay. Do you have any predictions? Maybe I'll just do one. Maybe we can just rattle them off. I'll rattle my first one off.
Rattle yours off, then I'll hit
my first one that this is what I'm hoping for. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I just am like praying for it. I want Liquid Death to jump into the game. Because if Liquid Death does it, they will make the funniest ad. I don't care. Doritos, yeah, great. Funny ads. But like Liquid Death creative director said, like, we're not talking about trying to make funny ads. We're trying to just make funny, right? Like, we're not playing in the ad category B team. We are just trying to make funny stuff. And if they jump into it, they will make the funniest thing, I think. And I hope they do.
Totally. That's a great take. Mine was actually, I have two. The first one is related to Doritos. I was thinking back on my favorite ads of all time, and Doritos was crushing it for a while back there. So I hope they come back with something strong. One of them that stood out to me was there's one from a few years back where this guy goes over to this girl's house on a date. And the little kid's got the Doritos out, and he sits at the thing, and he takes one of the kids' Doritos, and the kid's like, 2 rules: keep your hand off my mama, keep your hand off my Doritos.
Yeah.
Love that one. And then the other one is Stanley. Stanley's having a huge moment right now. It would be cool if they did something funny or did something big during the Super Bowl.
They could do they could feature the lady whose car burned, right? Like her car burned up and her Stanley mug was like completely fine and she shook it and there was ice rattling in it. This was like just her doing the video and they bought her a new car. Like that's just a story that's interesting that, like just make that into a 30-second spot and that's a great ad.
Totally.
I'll give you one more. I think Bud Light's definitely going to do something. They always do. They had a controversial moment last year with the Dylan Mulvaney influencer campaign. I'm not going to get into that, whether I think it was good, bad, whatever. But I will say that I think that they're trying to go a different direction. They just signed Shane Gillis, comedian, appeals probably more to the demographic of people who were not happy with them about the Dylan Mulvaney thing. I think they'd do some kind of collab with Shane Gillis for a Super Bowl ad. I like to see comedians, right? Because
totally,
I'm here for the Super Bowl ads, but I don't want the ones that are going to make me like cry. I want to laugh. So, and I cry easy now. Like I have 3 daughters. If you have 3 daughters, dude, you just get soft. So don't make me cry, make me laugh. And awesome. Shane Gillis, I trust you.
And I think Bud Light, just like Doritos, is on the list of all-time Super Bowl ads players for sure. Sure. All right, awesome. So I think that wraps up the rapid fire question, and let's finish it off with what we want to call the Johnologue.
A lot of people have been sharing stuff, content that's been created with AI, and as well as ads that they've actually seen out in the world that were created using AI. So I have a few to run with. So first one is a post from Pomp. I think his name is Adrian. People just know him as Pomp. He's one of those people who got famous on Twitter during the crypto boom. And this is, I think, an out-of-home ad on like a bathroom door. It looks like
maybe
airport.
A subway or something.
And it's a clearly AI photo. I don't have strong opinions on this other than I just expect this to happen. But what's the next one? So this is Rise Supplements. Rise is a brand that was originally direct to consumer. They launched in partnership with Conor McGregor. Theirs is a Santa ad. It makes a little more sense because Santa is, I gotta be careful what I say around here, but Santa in I'll put it this way. Santa in cartoon form makes more sense, right? So those make a lot of sense to me, especially with social media. A lot of brands need to just launch a ton of volume and you can make pretty good looking stuff on Midjourney, Dolly. I think that makes sense for, many brands to try to just like get it going. This is where it gets real crazy.
Hey, Nicole here. We're all wondering about the power of AI. Well, here it is. This video's script was generated using ChatGPT, the avatar using HeyGen, the voiceover using 11 Labs, and lastly, the captions via Submagic. Are you ready for the future?
I'll describe that for people who are just listening on audio. It's a talking head video of Nicole. So I know this person. Nicole in her office talking to camera like I'm doing right now. And it is, you would not know. If she was not telling you it was AI, you would not know. If you knew her, you would know. It's not her voice. So they don't know the voice. But so if you knew her mannerisms are also a little bit different, but they're very human mannerisms, right? So they use kind of more stock human raises of the eyebrow, tilts of the head. They don't match her exactly, but it's very believable. Had she not said it was an AI video, the only thing that would have tipped me off was the voice. So this is where the implications get pretty serious because here's where we could see, and I think we have seen, people using Joe Rogan in their ads, or using Elon Musk in their ads, or just
Right.
using people who they don't have authorization to use in the ads. And you know that all the black hat advertisers are going to be doing this. Furthermore, if you're someone who needs to make, does a lot of UGC or a lot of testimonial videos in your ads, things like that. Like I could see a whole, back to the Super Bowl prediction, I could see a whole Super Bowl ad all done with AI. That would be a really interesting take. So this is where it gets
Totally.
real interesting. Like, were you surprised? Is that looks real realistic to you, right?
Yeah, I don't know, Nicole, and I'm shocked.
Okay, yeah. So this is another one. It's a little bit like this is a trend on TikTok and YouTube where people are making what I would call, it's the equivalent of like an Instagram meme account. The post says, this AI TikTok generated $40,000 in sales. So somebody posted this on TikTok. It generated 40,000 in sales for that product that it's about in the TikTok shop. It was created using these tools, CapCut, which isn't a fully AI tool, but it's, there's a lot of AI features, 11 Labs for voiceover, and Midjourney for AI images. And anybody could do this. This is a faceless thing. I mean, you could basically be cranking out thousands of these per minute, right?
This is crazy.
And just flooding TikTok with them.
The last one.
So this is a classic, like when somebody does a cold outreach. This is more of a B2B application. Somebody does a cold outreach and creates a video for you. This is a video created completely by AI, and even the person in the corner who's talking through the stuff on screen is AI as well. Can you get volume on it?
Hey, Tom, love your shit, bro. I found out about Tweet Hunter. I can add 100k MRR within 2 weeks of work by sharing my wisdom with you. Let's hop on a call.
I did not expect his voice to sound like that.
So I wanted to go with a little parody there at the end, because if anyone who's on Twitter knows that reach out of, hey John, hey Ethan, love your shit, bro. That's like the battle cry of the cold outreach people on Twitter right now.
It is.
So this one was like meant to be funny, but the same kind of thing where, these things that used to take 10 minutes for you to run down the research that could, and then, create a video for the brand and make it more custom to them, it could end up being way, way less time. And who knows what inputs you'd have to put into something like this.
This levels out the playing field for a lot of different brands, especially smaller brands that might not have the resources to be able to produce something of much higher quality that can compete and that can reach that scale. Yeah. Really cool. Really cool.
I think that we're doing a whole lot of optimizing for volume. How much can we do? How many new ads can we make? How many new videos can we make? And we're doing a whole lot of optimizing for automation, right? Which is the same as optimizing for volume. And we're not doing a whole lot of optimizing for like, what's the best possible thing we could make?
Totally.
And that is one of the biggest problems I see in the advertising industry as a whole. Why do we talk about Liquid Death all the time? Why do we talk about Kith? They didn't do anything with AI.
Next level.
They're doing stuff that's just actually really good.
Right.
They're sometimes people and brands and like creators come along that are just so good at doing it that they just remind us how average the rest of everyone else is. And I think this AI ads is sort of just a lean more into the average, a lean more into the mediocre. And I think they have a smell, right? And maybe they won't forever, but there's always something about them that just like smells a little not human. And I think that where brands can win, I think you should do it. Now, I'm not saying don't do it, right? I'm not saying don't use AI, but I think that where creators can win, where brands can win, where tech companies can win, is to actually lean a little bit more into like, what's the best thing we can do, and hire people to ideate, right? Like we hire all these people to do edits for us and to run ads for us and stuff like that. We don't hire people to like ideate and come up with like great ideas for ads or great ideas for content. And
that's so true.
That's what we need more of. Liquid Death hires and employs a full-time comedian. We need more of that. And I think that's the differentiator as the playing field becomes level on the AI. Like you can't differentiate that way. You got to kind of do some of it to keep up. But the differentiator is that like you're better at being human.
It's so true. And it's a great note to end this first episode on. It's the fact that I think there's a lot of people that are spraying and praying and doing quantity over quality, but it's the brands that take the reverse approach that really stand out. And to your point, like Liquid Death was built by creators, and investing heavily in creators, and that's something that's standing out. So I think the thing that I hope we both see AI move more towards is helping people become more creative and leveling up that quality, and not just producing more and throwing more into the wind. Because I don't think, like, yeah, you might see some incremental gains in the short term, but I don't think that's what's going to move the needle long term. It's like you said, it's the ability to be more thoughtful, more creative, and more unique. And that's what truly sets great brands apart. And it's hard to do that, and that's why there's
the ability to be difficult to replicate by AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, great thought to end on. That's well informed this week. If you are an e-commerce brand, then you need to check out Triple Whale. You can go to triplewhale.com or just Google Triple Whale. If you want a scoreboard for your business, look, what gets measured gets improved. So you got to measure the important things like profit, where your sales are coming from, where your highest value customers are coming from. You can do all that with Triple Whale. Try triplewhale.com. Is it try triple or triplewhale.com?
I think it's triplewhale.com. I think some of the social handles used to be try triple whale.
Triplewhale.com or Google Triple Whale. This is well informed. Wherever you're watching this, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, or if you're listening to it on audio, hit the follow, and keep up to date on the episodes. Leave us a review, leave us a comment, do all the stuff that, if you're all the way this point in the video, help us out. Like it. Tell the algorithms that it's good, so that it shows it's more.
It's like the gentleman's agreement from my first million. Just do your part, do a few clicks here and there.
It's all free. You just got to tap some stuff on your phone. It doesn't take long.
100%.
And awesome. We'll see you next time, Ethan.
That's a wrap.